Well, good morning. We're going to take you on a short ride today and show you what it's like to ride the 1964 Royal Enfield Interceptor 750, and also go over the starting procedure, which is not push a button and go if you're used to modern motorcycles. So, how do we get started here? Now, this model is a magneto model and it has no key, so you don't have to switch on a key or anything. So the first thing is you want to get your kickstart ready, hold the clutch in and kick it over until you feel the clutch break free. These tend to stick on these old British bikes, so you want to make sure you do that before you try to start it. And then you have to turn the fuel taps on. For each side. See the fuel trickle down in there and fill the bowls. Hopefully it stops at some point, otherwise your float's not operating. That one is good. Then you hit the ticklers. Give the carbs a little fuel. You just hold those in until you see some fuel start to come out. Like that. And you're ready there. And then you want to do a dry kick, kind of. Just kick it over a few times to suck that gas into the cylinders. And hopefully she starts. So this one hasn't been run for a while. I'm going to change cameras and see if we can get her to fire. Alright, let's see how successful we are this morning. Took me a few minutes to get ready, so I'm going to reflood those carbs. Does not like choke unless it's really cold. Alright. Bring the thunder. Alright, that took a little bit more effort than I was hoping for, but she hasn't run in a while. I will tell you that when it's warm, it usually will start up in the first kick, maybe the second at worst. When it's cold, you're going to have to hold the throttle a little bit till she warms up. And now we've got an idle. Alright. So I'll finish gearing up and then we'll go for a ride. Alright, here we go. First gear. Of course, your shifter's on the right side. First gear is up. And it's neutral, 2, 3, 4 going down. Again, on the right side, so if you're not used to riding old British bikes, this is going to confound you. And even if you are, the shift pattern's kind of reversed than most everything else. Except Norton Commandos, I think, are the same. Tachometer is not currently working on this. The cable broke. My brand new cable, because British motorcycle. I'm going to order another one. And let's see, we'll turn on the One. The ammeter is showing charging. Turn the headlight on. There, it looks like it's happier now. Okay. Charging systems on these are sketchy. Good morning, fellas. Whoops. Left foot brake. Left foot brake. Whoops. I didn't get into first. There we go. Come on. Neutral. There we go. All right. First gear. That was operator error. Shifting is actually pretty good, I think. A lot of people complain about the Albion gearbox, but my experience with it is that it shifts pretty nicely. It's not very precise as far as knowing when you're in a gear. A little bit of soft shift. Doesn't really click in like you might think. And once you're used to it, you know where your gears are, but starting out it can be a little confounding. And of course there is the neutral finder function, which is wonderful. Come up to a first or a stop sign, you push that, takes you right down to neutral if you're in any of the top 3 gears. I still have to kind of look most of the time because I have not trained myself yet to feel where that lever is on my heel. Kind of a mess there. At the neutral finder, you got the kick start lever. It's kind of conspiring to make your life difficult, but it is possible to do it after a while, but just learning where it is. Beautiful morning. Very hot today, though. It's going to be 100 degrees here in Pennsylvania. We're out early. With the twist of the throttle, we get some nice torque. Just to pull us up those hills. This is about 50 to 55 miles an hour that you're seeing here. Wish I could tell you what revs we're turning, but I can't. This bike also has no turn signals. It's built before they were common. So I have to use hand signals when anyone's around. Up with the lever to downshift. Now we're in second. We shift to fourth. That's 60 right there. Very happy motorcycle. Well, Enfields, when they're running correctly, you just feel happy. Could be wrong. Vibrations, yes, it's got some. Now this is a dynamically balanced engine, which is pretty rare for its time. So it's much smoother than a lot of its competition. And you can tell it's probably on par with a more modern bike that was made maybe by the Japanese in the 70s or 80s. So it's actually pretty good. Really can't complain. There are vibrations in the handlebars. The grips that I have I don't think are very good at quelling vibrations, so apologies about the glare here. As you can see though, it's just a wonderful bike to ride. I've ridden a lot of older British bikes. This is the first one I've actually owned. But I've ridden Triumph, Norton, BSA, Twins, and I have my prejudices and preferences. Never rode one of these before I bought it, and have been very pleasantly surprised and pleased. how it stacks up against the others. I think this falls somewhere between a Triumph and a Norton. Alright, so lastly, the brakes. Now, everybody complains about the brakes in these old British bikes, and they're terrible and they don't stop very well. And it is true that they are not good by modern standards. Certainly not. A lot of the problems with these brakes is that they don't get set up properly. The front leveraging on the twin leading shoes really has to be set up correctly. Your pull and your cable, the angle with the lever has to be correct. I'm not going to explain how to do that right here because you need audio visuals, but once they're set up properly, they work adequately. I mean, if you're doing, 80, 90 miles an hour on one of these bikes, you're running a big risk because it's not going to stop for you. But if you need to stop in a hurry and, you got one, maybe two good stops before they get hot. But just normal riding, if you realize what they are, plan ahead, aren't out hooting around, they're perfectly adequate. I really do not complain. I think the rear brake might be a little bit better on this than the front, which you'll find is the case with a lot of bikes. For whatever reason, they just are. Riding position is, very standard, very upright. You do have maybe a slight lean forward, but it's not much. Unlike my Bonneville, when you put your feet down, the pegs are not right where your legs want to be. It is heavy for its age. I don't remember what the weight is, but it is a little hefty to move around compared to some of the other bikes in this size range. But by modern standards, it's a light bike. Handling? I don't know what you're comparing it to, but I think it's reasonably nimble. It certainly turns in as nice as or better than my 865 late model Bonneville. It's one of these bikes that it may not make you feel like you can just drop it into a turn very easily or carve some corners with it, but it will do it if asked. I think the Norton that I rode seemed more eager to do that kind of riding, where this is more like maybe a Triumph of the era. You don't feel like it doesn't want to do it, but maybe it's not as eager as you'd like it to be. Considering the chassis, which is from the 1950s, I think it handles very well, and I enjoy riding this a lot. Right, left foot brake, rear brake, downshift, downshift. All right, here we go. Pretty steep hill here. Third gear, no problem. Like I said, the best way I can describe this bike is it's a happy motorcycle. Fourth gear is kind of tall, so as you can hear, it'll lug down a bit in the hills in fourth unless you've got a decent run. Will it cruise on the highway? Yes, but I did take it on the highway once to see what it was like, and doing 65 to 70 miles an hour, maybe a little more. And it'll certainly do it. It has the power, has the gearing, but it does get vibey up there. Pretty hefty wind blast because there's no protection, obviously. So it's really not comfortable running down the highway for the rider. The bike doesn't care, but I didn't find it pleasant. This is not really what this bike is for. It's happiest, I think, 50 to 60 on these 2-lane roads, where it really shines. Some lower speed work, yeah, it's fine at that too. Got to stop here, so we'll use the neutral finder again. Brakes. Up, where is it? Heel, there we go. First gear. And I smell oil. So we're going to take it back home and put it away again until I can fix these pesky oil leaks. Just wanted to get it out and ride it because I haven't had it out for a little while. And give you all a taste of what it's like to ride this vintage Royal Enfield Interceptor. Much different than the modern one you may have if you're a viewer that's bought one. Modern 650 is a great bike. But I like this one. And I think this is a keeper. Well, I appreciate you coming along for the ride.